Welcome to Cold Wans. If you're not familiar with what Cold Wans is, it's a 5 minute cold plunge into the post plunge warm up where we get to know our guest. So, on the note of our guest today, I want a big, warm welcome for Daniel Kabanda. On you come, son.
Hey people, what it do? How y'all doing? I'm Daniel, 21 years old, and obviously I'm out here with my boy Kyle, the GOAT, and he's asked me for quite a bit to come out here and kind of do a podcast because obviously we got a lot to talk about. And I'm about to sit in a really cold set of water, and we're gonna discuss pretty much whatever we can, whatever we can think of. So it's gonna be quite fun, and it'll be quite shattering. But you know what? It's what we do. So
Alright, it's going to be all part of the experience. Have you ever done an ice bath before?
Um, besides the challenges that we used to have years back, no,
Okay.
I've not sat in an ice bath for like I don't think I can handle it. I'm so used to hot weather, so the fact that I'm throwing myself in cold water for a good amount of time is it's quite a challenge.
Oh, well. I'm sure you'll be fine.
I'm sure.
As long as you're ready, mate, we can get on with
Let's do it.
this. Whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, let's do it. Man, this is cold, bro. Ain't no way I'm planning this. Holy. okay. Okay. I'm gonna get into it. All right. Give me a second, y'all. All right, I'm good.
Right. So, we're going to talk about what steps that you would recommend people to take to get their life on the run for what direction they want to go in.
Damn, that's a good question. You know what? People these days always forget about planning their life ahead. And it's at a point in our lives where if we don't plan, then we're not preparing ourselves for what like the future could hold for us. So sometimes if you got dreams, if you got goals, the goal for me to kind of like prepare myself is to like I don't know, like sometimes it's good to talk to people, get advice, and then when you get advice, you start to like come up with ideas and plans for your like path. Sometimes you got to think ahead of where you're going to go, who you're going to take with you, or if you're going to do it as a solo run. So it's like sometimes you just need to kind of like go with with your heart. Sometimes your mind helps out, but your heart is what really gets you going in life.
I couldn't actually agree more there. The first thing I was going to come out with is making sure you schedule in things that you enjoy, so that then it's easier to schedule in things you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
So if you have a good schedule for your life, usually you'll end up running through your days a bit easier. Like it's easier to keep your days in a straight. So that then when you have to add in the bad days where you have to go to, I don't know, do fitness for 3 hours or something because you've got to train for something, or for example, you obviously love doing your movie, but when you talk about your movie, you were there for a grueling amount of time doing it. It's like it's a long time, but you enjoy it, so
Yeah.
it works that way.
Yeah, no. Like filmmaking, man. Honestly, there's a lot to talk about filmmaking. So when I first got this role that I'm in, it's called a movie's called Gaff. It's not out yet, but we finished it. Just working on the editing. When I first started getting into like filming as an actor, there was a lot of variables to kind of like prepare yourself for because in this industry, it's tough.
Yeah,
Like people are looking for certain things, and if you don't have those certain things, then you're not qualified for that role. So it's like when I got this opportunity to play a character that is quite diverse, like to have it filmed in Scotland is also quite cool because it means that like you're having a character stand out. Like when you're so used to certain characters kind of being the same,
mm.
it's it's the basic thing of filming, but to have something that diverse, it's quite interesting because it stands out and people can have something that they can relate to, especially if they're like living abroad. They could be like, I don't know, they could be Norwegian, it could be Chinese, it could be they could be anything, and they can fit into a group that they're not quite familiar with, but it also brings a huge diversity chemistry
Mm.
around friends and all. So this movie that I have coming out, man, it's quite that, and it's also like a lot of teen stuff. As kids we grow up kind of like doing things that teenagers do, falling in love, getting into the idea of doing YouTube, or just like I don't know, enjoying drama or building up confidence. And that's pretty much what this movie is based on. I can't say too much on it. All I can say is it's something that I feel like people will enjoy, people will kind of relate to and be like,
Mm.
oh, this movie actually relates to me in a way, and it also kind of relates to like my group of friends and what we get up to. So when it comes out, I'm sure a lot of y'all will love that, and I'm pretty sure people will love and laugh at it because there's quite a few jokes in there that people will just kind of be like, I can't help but laugh.
Well, later down in the post plunge one, we're going to watch back the teaser trailer that they've got out so far, and that'll give you a little insight into what it's all about. But you were saying there, it's really relatable. Like when I was watching, I've already watched it, obviously, because the minute you told me, I was like, I'll give it a wee watch. And the relatability to it is there, and I like the fact that it's about Scottish culture. That's something I like a lot. Obviously, Americans do it as well, but it's the way that it is set out in that teaser trailer, the way that it's built up together. It seems right, and I'm looking really forward to it. I'm going to be there to watch it. Like absolutely, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one.
All right, well, enough about me. So man, like, what got you into like this whole positive riff? Giving people like something to kind of believe in, and like, what got you into want to inspire people?
So we'll start from the beginning. For my life, so when I was younger, I was very involved with drugs, bad lifestyle, like a terrible lifestyle actually. There was not really much going for me. I was very stuck in a very generic, pretty bad job. Wasn't very happy with myself. Wasn't doing much with my life. And then the beginning of this year, it got to New Year's, and I looked back at all the other years I'd said to myself, I promised myself I was going to change, and nothing had ever happened. So then I was like, we'll get back to that in a second. I was like, it's definitely time. It's time to change, and it's time to help others as well as change for myself.
Hmm.
And that's where I am now. 223 days in of just motivating everybody I can, and that's what it's all about, mate.
That's good, man. That's good. Like, you know what? I kind of like I really feel that because it's like we live in a society or in an age where kids today don't like have the right mindsets. Like people go down certain paths and they end up doing things that really affect their lives in like the most crucial ways.
Yeah,
So for you to be able to go through a certain humble beginning and realize that, damn, my life is in shambles. I gotta fix this. To be able to come back from all of that, from the drugs and the struggles, it's really good and it really brings out a lot of motivation for people to kind of do the exact same.
yeah,
Because nowadays I feel like people don't get enough motivation to kind of like grow and evolve into a better person because they're so stuck in a certain lifestyle that they can't get themselves out of. And it's gotten so deep for even the youngins today that it's like a lot of them are either losing their lives or getting thrown in jail or disrespecting their parents or having messed up relationships. Like that's just tough.
yeah,
So for you to be able to kind of like grow and evolve and better yourself and inspire others to better themselves too, it's a really big inspiration. And I love that, because it's like I've always wanted to do that for people when it came to like following your dreams. Like I've grown up with the idea of peace and prosperity. Like in life, you gotta have peace. Like if you have peace, you're able to kind of think better. You're able to control your life and move it in a way that you feel will better yourself and what it's meant for you. Like the way I've learned is if you have peace and you have peace around people that you care about, it builds on with prosperity, and prosperity is about thriving and succeeding in life. And for me, peace and prosperity is probably the most important thing in life. If you don't have that, you're gonna struggle.
yeah,
But everybody kind of needs to struggle. You got to go through humble beginnings. Without humble beginnings, you won't find yourself, and if you don't find yourself, you'll never know who you really are until you go through that. So you have to go through struggles, you have to go through certain tasks and unfortunate events to kind of like find who you really are. And that kind of situation brings out the real you. And then when the real you comes out, you start to see a great change in your life, man. You start to succeed better, have better mindsets. You have to, it's a beautiful thing to have that. And I feel like with you have doing these podcasts, it really builds on for the other people to kind of grow and to kind of expand better after all the struggles. And I really love that, man.
thank you so much, mate. But we can talk a bit more about this when we get into the post plunge warm up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the post plunge warm up, which is a little bit less cold, a little bit less wet, but we're gonna go into the water first. That's us into the post plunge warm up. In the post plunge warm up, we ask two questions. We ask about our past and we ask about the future. But to start this conversation off, how was ice bath for you, mate?
Honestly, as a man who's so used to the heat, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was alright. It was painful at first because like you got to get a feel for like being in an ice bath, but as you get kind of into it, you start to kind of be like, oh, I'm settling in. It's when you come out afterwards, that's when you're like, yeah, why did I do this? But you know what? It's okay. We live and we learn, so I enjoyed it.
It's good, man. So, we'll start off the podcast just by asking you about your past. So, I like to find out a bit about my guest, and especially if I don't really know you as well, it's great to know where you've came from to get to this position that you're in right now. So, what's happened in your past leading up to this moment?
Well, to start off, because I know a lot of people probably gonna be asking questions like, "This dude's got an American accent. Is he American?" So I'm gonna start off by saying that I'm not American. But long story short, I'm trying to make it nice and simple for a lot of people. So I grew up in England, Luton, Dunstable. I know people do not like that place at all, especially with how history with it is even today. But you can't really choose where you grow up. It's just kind of gotta deal with it. But I grew up in Luton, Dunstable for a couple years, and my accent came when I was about 3 years old. Like when I tell you, I grew up with my family through a lot of 90s culture type stuff. Like as a kid, I was big on Wu-Tang. I was big on, Mobb Deep. I was big on the whole East Coast vibe that I caught as a kid. And it got to a point where like the accent caught on very quickly. And at first we tried to like get me out of it, but it just got more and more like intense to the point where this became a personal way of talking, and this is my personal way of speech. So even though people assume I'm American, it's kind of like just accepting that people will kind of see you that way instead of like how you really are. But to be honest, I don't really see myself as any other way. Like I could not see myself being British or like Scottish in any kind of way, because I'm so used to how I am now. So there's just like no way I'm ever gonna switch up, because it's who I am. I can't change who I am for people. If people don't like it, that's cool. I'm not meant for you. I'm not meant for your life. But past. I moved to Scotland when I was 8. Struggled to fit in at first because of like just how I was standing out. I was like stuck in this really small bubble where I felt like I wasn't gonna fit in at all with just how different people were, and it took me a while to kind of like get used to the Scottish, the Scottish. I'm trying to find a word for this.
Culture?
Yeah, the culture, the Scottish culture, and it took me a while to get into it. Over time, I started understanding the different different languages, how people talk, and it got to a point where I started settling in, and I started making friends, started enjoying school. And then, like all humble beginnings, you kind of got to start off with certain situations like bullying. That happened. That happened a lot. In fact, that happened up until high school, bro. But the difference is I didn't let it stop me from being the way I am. I didn't let it stop me from getting to where I am now. I had to deal with people not liking how I was, or not enjoying the vibe that I carried. So I had a lot of people questioning me 24/7, not approving of my lifestyle whatsoever. They didn't like anything about me. So it got to a point where if I had to step up, it'd be me against the world. That was just how it was for me growing up. Like the way I grew up was, if you're on your own, then at least you have a way of kind of like finding your path, and eventually finding people that you know will eventually want to be in your life and respect you for the way that you are. But the way I saw it was, it's you against the world. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you fight to try to fit in, people are gonna see you as an antagonist in their world, So you just gotta accept being alone until you find the people that want to be in that circle with you. And basically got to a point where all I had to do was follow my heart, find peace in myself, and I could find peace in others. And eventually I started making friends with people that really shaped my life in a balance. And up until this point now, I still cherish quite a lot of them. Even if we don't talk now, I still thank them for sticking by me, helping me grow, and helping me develop into the person that I am now. And if I could say anything to them now, I'd be like, thank you for sticking by me. Thank you for giving me the chance to grow. And thank you for guiding me no matter how hard it took, and no matter how long it was for us to kind of like grow together. And, now I'm just I'm living life. I'm at peace. I don't have hate or negativity towards anybody. Like, I hate the term for negativity. It's rough because negativity is everywhere. It's in people, it's in nature, it's in the environment. It's a construct we kind of have to deal with, but where there's negativity, there's a chance for positivity. And with positivity, you can find so many things to better your life. And it's good to have that now, as a grown adult.
Man, I can't agree more. See, like, how you just spoke about the fact that, like, folk come into your life, you might not speak to them now, but they develop you, they help you grow. I could not closely relate to that anymore. Like, I've, obviously, as I picked this lifestyle and going a lot quieter and, like, being... So when I was going through school, I never really struggled with, like, bullying and stuff like that. I was probably... I like to go off of the whole thing that it's like you go into school and you try and look for popularity. That's like our Scottish culture. You want to be the part of the biggest, most popular group, and you want to be this, that. Friends are so important in school when they're not really that important. It's just like now, but you realise when you get to this age that school was just such a faff anyway, because most of the things you've done in school, you've done off your own back for no other reason than popularity, and you're just like, to me, that's not important anymore. But when you speak about people coming into your life, and like doing things that guide you to where you want to be, I could not agree with that more. I've got a good amount of friends that I don't really speak to anymore, but if it wasn't for them, I would not be or have experienced the things that I have in my life to get me to where I am now. And I would not have had the same push and drive to get to where I am now if it wasn't for those people. So I could not agree with that more. Obviously, some of the worst people, some people would claim as the worst type of people have been in my life, have actually been the best people in my life, because the life lessons that they bring, even if it's fully negative, the life lessons that they bring for you are the things that change you to a more positive and better liking person than you were before. And that's the crazy thing about life, you know what I mean? Like, literally anything can happen to you. Anything. But if you take the right steps to then turn that into a positive message to you, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, I've spoken about this many a time in my past on these podcasts, but I used to sell drugs at one point in my life, and I would never go back there. Never. Not one thing in my life would ever take me back there. It doesn't matter how bad it gets, how much I'm desperate for money, how much whatever. Never happen again. But that life lesson of learning that was a mainstream thing, like, not just for me, but for people of that age and that background. Like, my background, again, family and all that, great. I got risen to be one of the best, and I ended up falling still. And that's the proof of the proof's in the pudding there, where you think, if you can be raised so well to the point where you shouldn't have problems, but you still end up falling into that gap, what's stopping people that have had a much worse and harder upbringing falling into that gap? Because it's a big thing. Scotland's very bad for youngsters getting involved with drugs, let alone selling drugs. And this is one of the biggest things that I advocate for, because it's so easy to fall into that gap. Because at one point in my life when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, well, even our drugs, like, it doesn't, like, blah 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 blah, and then all of it came at one time in high school, second year. Everything just came all at once. It floods in. You just you learn this whole culture background about drugs, alcohol, drinking, and you can't really get yourself out of it at that point, because you're so young, you're so naive, and you're easy to fall into these situations. And that's why I'm so advocated towards speaking about this, and that's why I've tried to get in touch with my old high school and see if I can go and do like a what they called, like a talk with the kids, because having it come from someone, like, I was the first person in, I can't remember how many years, it was like 10 years or something, I'd been in the newspaper in school selling drugs, because that's where I got caught. I was the first person in 10 years that had ever happened to. And how embarrassing that is for my family, because they've never brought me up to be like that. Never gave me one reason to be like that. It's just I fell into the wrong crowd, wrong time, but I learned from it. And that's the great thing about development, is it might have been a bad time at one point, it might be a rough patch at one point, but now, where I am now, I can then turn around and I can educate the people that don't have that opportunity to be educated in the places I know from someone that knows so much about it. And that's what it's about, turning those negative situations, those negative times in your life, the negative environments, into positive environments, and giving people opportunities to learn from your mistakes.
That's real, yeah. Honestly, it's truth, man. Like, in our generation, there's a lot of people that fall astray, man. People go down certain paths that really screw up their lives. And then they're sitting there thinking to themselves, what could I have done to change that? What could I have done to stray away from that path and find a much better lining in life? And when I look at the kids today, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Kids today have gotten so much worse, way worse than us. Like, so much younger too. And it's bad that they've had to kind of like take all of this so-called knowledge that we had as kids growing up and kind of like infuse it into the younger ones. Because now the young ones don't even care about wanting to go to school and wanting to succeed, wanting to be a better person. Like, they just choose to make their own destinies through what they've learned through the older generation, which is us. And it sucks for them because, man, they're having to follow a path that they've just learned through a culture phase, like through a I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like, you know, it's like catching a wave, a wave that can either come lightly or it can come crashing down on you, and the harder it hits, the more damage you start to obtain off of that. And that's kind of where the younger kids today are kind of like falling, because they're taking what we learned as kids and they're learning it at such a younger age, and it's bad for, like, their health and their safety in life. But I don't think they really care about that.
No.
So it's like for them to slowly get into the idea of drugs and being reckless and harming like older generational people, like the elderly. Like, I've seen some pretty messed up things on social media where kids today are actually fighting the elderly for God knows what, for views, for the sake of trying to be cool in front of people. And it's like, where do you go to like have that kind of mindset? Like, what brings you up to want to be that kind of person? And it's not fair to kind of like think you're better than most people and take that kind of life lesson and just kind of like just act all cool with it, because it's not. Like, I grew up learning that in life you need to find balance, you need to find peace, you need to find a way to kind of like live your life without following in others. Because when you follow in others, you start to learn a lot of the wrong things. And when you learn the wrong things, you start to stray from a path where you're not going to be capable of succeeding, becoming one with life and, success, because you're following other people. You're following their vibe. You're following their little trend. And because of that, it's what's destroying your youth. It's destroying the real version of yourself. And I've learned that sometimes you're better off focusing on yourself and writing a list of things that you feel should really, benefit you in the long run. Because nowadays, I learned that with every path you take, with every choice you make in life, there's an effect. And sometimes the effect will be good, sometimes the effect will be bad, sometimes the effect will be worse. But it all hinders on what you do, what you decide, who you're going to be, who you're going to be around. And for me, I learned to find peace first. When you find peace, you find a way to kind of like develop and grow and find a better sense of lining in life. You start to see yourself in a path that glows for you. It doesn't glow for everybody else. It glows for you because it's your path. And when you follow it, you start to learn that there's different variables. There's different types of choices you can make. And the better the choice, the better your life becomes. The better your life becomes, the better you become. And some people don't have that mindset because they've not been told that. They've not been shared that kind of knowledge. And to live in a place like Scotland, not many people do that these days. Not many people are like me and you, where we have this mindset to bring people into a light, tell them what they need to know, and let them figure it out on their own. Nobody does that except us. And that's what really sucks for us, because it's like we want people to succeed. We want people to grow. We want people to live their lives. We want people to know that it's okay to go through humble beginnings. We all do it. The older generation did it, so do we. And it's going to continue to be that way as you get older, because new people come into light. People go through a lot of crazy stuff. But without humble beginnings, you don't find who you really are without it. If you don't have humble beginnings, how are you going to know who you are if you don't deal with pain and grief and, loss and sustainability? And I just feel like if we could give our generation hope again, then not only could it benefit us as the successors in life, but also give them the chance to be better than what we are now. And for them to have that opportunity to share that knowledge with the next people in life, and so on. So it's like, to have that mindset, man, it's real. It's kind of started from humble beginnings. We all go through struggle. We all go through pain. But at the end of the day, when we grow, when we live with peace and prosperity in our minds, we learn to become better than most people these days will, because no one else is going to follow you. They're going to think, oh, you're a joke, man. Your path is nothing compared to mine. I make money off of selling drugs and weed. That's just me. Okay, that's your lifestyle. I'm not going to tell you to follow me if you don't want to. I'm just trying to give you a better sense of where your path is going to take you. But I can't control what you do. Only you can do that. But if you see yourself becoming a better person and you see me doing it, I'm there to talk. Sit down, vent. I'll happily show you the way. And that way we can walk that path together. And you can stray away from that path that you was just following. Better yourself, better life, better others. People see a better light in you. People see you in a better light because of the choices you make. And you follow through on that. So that kind of thing comes a long way.
Could not have said that better myself, man. Honestly, it is. It's life is all about the gift that keeps on giving, innit? That's what it's all about. It's when you. The thing is, right, in my life, when I started to do this kind of social media stuff as well, you saw like it's not like a big backlash from people, but you see like people kind of turning and staring and being like, what are you doing? Like, you're doing something different. You're not following this. You're not a sheep. You're a lion. You know what I mean? It's that kind of situation where you've probably had that as well. Like when you're putting yourself out there doing a movie and stuff like that, you're not just following what everyone else is doing. So they're like, it's a bit weird. There's probably a couple folk that have had something to say about it. Maybe negative, maybe positive. God knows. I mean, everybody has their own thing to say at the end of the day, and you can't change people's opinions. But for me, going into social media, it was more like a very positive, overall positive, and then eventually, like, the more you do it and the more people realize that you're actually there to do it for like a cause, and it's not just there for, because some people will come on social media and try to get a wee bit of clout maybe from the start, something like that, just something quick they want, I don't know, quick release or something. But I'd done my ice baths as a way of developing myself, and now that people see that, I feel like there's a lot of people that probably watch my videos and they're like, wow, he actually is genuinely doing something that he set out to do. It's more or less just me caring about my development and myself, and that's the only reason I still do these ice baths. It's not because I want people to follow me on social media because I do ice baths. The motivation's there, and I love the motivation, but there's loads of ways you can do motivation. So the ice bath's not really needed, but for me, the ice bath is such a crucial thing because it's changed me so mentally. It's made my mental fortitude so high in comparison to what I used to be. I used to be so easy to be told what to do, maybe fall into the wrong crowds because I was easily influenced by people's words. You know what I mean? It'd be like, people would be like, oh, you want to come out tonight? And I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then folk would keep asking and asking, and I'd be like, right, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'd fall to that pressure so quickly that then made me realise that it was more me than it was the group that I was in at some points, you know what I mean? Like, with the whole going out thing. I used to be out, like, every single day as well, like, and these are all things that you look back on now after, like, I don't drink at all, basically, anymore. No drugs, no drinking, not really much outside of fitness and my podcast and like just motivating other people. That's all I care for now. And it's so weird because if you put a side by side comparison against me now and me last year, you wouldn't even recognize me. And that's the craziest thing to me. But that all grew from the development of me just sticking by my word, not caring what people had to say, and doing my thing on social media. My social media is not popping off in any way, shape, or form. My podcast is doing pretty well, to be fair. But like my actual just daily ice baths, they don't do great. But it doesn't bother me because that's not what they're there for. They're there so that when I get to a point, when I get to a year in, because I might stop at a year in, we'll have to see where we get there. But when I get to that point, I'll be able to look back and I'll see the development from the unconfident version of myself that was at the very beginning to the version of me now that would happily speak to anybody, help anybody, and give anyone the kind of motivation and just a happy word that they might need. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm all about now. Being able to just bring, like you, for example, Daniel, I've not ever really met you before. We spoke, but I've never met you. And being able to just come into a room and speak to you this easily is crazy because at one point in my life, I would not have been able to do this. Like, for my anxiety side of things, like, I would be the type of guy that'd be like, meeting new people is so anxiety filled, like, I hate that. Like, but now, I could meet anyone in the streets and I'd happily have a conversation with them for an hour if I needed to, you know what I mean? Or if they needed me to talk to them, to maybe uplift them, to help them, absolutely. You know, there's nothing stopping that because I'm so happy now to care about the people around me, whereas before I was just selfish. And that's what I see myself as back in the day. It was selfish. It wasn't a wrongdoer. It wasn't that I was in the wrong place. I was just selfish, and all I cared about was my own, myself, but in a way of not even development. It was more of a way of comfort. It's the selfish movement of my comfort that was more important to me than anyone else's feelings. And it's such a weird thing now because I put everyone before me now, 100% of the way. If you need me, I'm always there to chat. Like, another thing with all the social media is you start to get random people popping up and be like, oh, you're doing really well, like, I'm happy the way you're moving, like, the things that you're doing are really empowering, especially for such a young guy. And then you start to then realise that that's making a difference, and you can then go and speak to these people, ask them what they think, ask them how you could improve, you do all these things. And learning from the people that are watching you and they're genuinely giving you their time is so empowering. Taking that opportunity to learn from those people, even if they don't really know what they're talking about in that sort of scenario, but having their input for what they can see, because they're the ones that are watching at the end of the day, you know, they're the ones that come back every day, they support you, and they bring back the energy that you need to then keep going, because sometimes it can get grueling not having the feedback. And I mean, as I said before, it's not about clout, it's not about feedback, and that for me it was about the development. But when you start to get a couple of folk maybe pop up, have negative, you then get knocked down a couple pedestals, just bum bum bum, and then you can't really see the direction ahead. And then that one person comes up and goes, you've genuinely made me a better person, or you've genuinely saved my life, or there's a plethora of things that they can say. And when that gets sent to you, then go, what I'm doing is exactly what I came here to do. And that's when you realise that development that you've done in yourself is actually not just for yourself anymore. You're now affecting the people, or your peers, your people around you, and you're helping them as well. And there's nothing more rewarding. Nothing, absolutely nothing more rewarding than that. Oh, crazy thing, man. Crazy thing.
Yeah, man, that's true. One thing I've learned, so obviously everybody knows about this thing I have, with acting. It's become a really important thing in my life because when I first started doing acting, I wasn't sure if it was really for me because I was just taking people's words. People was talking about, man, you're a walking cartoon. I could literally see you on TV. And in my mind, I was like, I could see maybe 10, 20 people do exactly what I do. I don't think I'm anywhere near as good as they could be on TV. And what got me to really do what I do now was during high school. I was about 16 when I took it seriously. I took drama. I was having fun with it, man. And like when you go to drama, you're just kind of like, you're free to do whatever. You're kind of free to expand and kind of have fun with yourself. You kind of like switch up your personality, switch up your aspects in life. You kind of just have fun just playing a different person. And I grew to love that thing where people could tell me, this is what you're destined for, man. And it took me a while to accept it because I didn't see what everybody else was seeing. I was just getting told off of other people, you are destined for this path. You need to follow it. And at first I was skeptical. But then I learned that people aren't just saying this stuff to you because they care. They're saying it because they see a light that you don't. They see your success way ahead of you before you even see it yourself. And in my mind, I'm like, maybe these people might actually have something going on here. They might actually be telling me something that maybe I'm finding hard to see in myself. So I took acting very seriously. I took the idea of wanting to succeed in that industry very, very seriously. I started off doing background work. I was doing a show called The Demon Headmaster, and it was my first ever acting gig, man. When I tell you, it was just background work. So I wasn't speaking, but I was in front of the camera quite a few times. So, you know, when you get that kind of airtime, it's good. People kind of see your face and it's like, okay, we know who that person is. We'll keep an eye out for him. And I did background stuff up until I was about 17, 18. There was a project I did before GAF. So it was called U-Turn. If people know about that, then you know that that did not happen. That actually crashed. What kind of happened was the guy that was making it wanted to create something like quite interesting about a young artist called Akub who wanted to become a rapper, you know? He was having to work at his uncle's store. He had a best friend called Mark. I played Mark, who was kind of like an exchange student. Very similar to my character Alex. You know, Mark was also kind of like a rapper enthusiast because he had a big brother in his life. And that project, we were hoping to get that out. We did one episode, and then after that, scrapped. That was it. So at first, I thought, I think this is it. I think I'm done. Like, there's no way I'm going to get myself out there if it's not even going to get shared to people. At first, I thought of not doing acting anymore. But my mom, who is my biggest inspiration, she told me that what's meant for you won't go by you. And it's the truth, man. If something's meant for you, it'll come to you when you least expect it. Even if it means you have to fight blood, sweat, and tears for it, man. It'll come to you when you least expect it. And I fought hard going to college, working my 9 to 5. Well, I worked 12 hours. You know, most people are kind of used to doing those kind of hours. But I fought really hard to try and get where I'm at. And then about a year come November, this project comes up, and it's on Facebook. My mom's like, you should try and, you know, shoot your shot here. And I just looked at it and was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Let me see how I do, you know? So I before I auditioned for Alex, there was Ethan. Ethan was the character that I started off with. And basically, the guy who gave me the role of Alex, he basically saw my potential and was like, okay, you're really good with Ethan, but I want to see you try Alex. So I did Alex, and he was astounded by my performance. Him and his entire department. And that was when I landed the role of Alex. Like, as soon as I got told, you were meant for this, you have got to be a part of this project, that's when my mind finally opened up. This is it. This is my opportunity to show people what I'm capable of. If people can see my light already, what's stopping me from seeing it right now? Let's go shoot this thing. Let's go do this. So we made that movie back in November, and we finished it now. It's finally done. It's all done. It's just done with, you know, with editing and all that. We're getting another trailer soon, but, you know, you guys are going to see the teaser first. But the point I'm trying to point out to people is, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, Don't wait around. Go after that thing, because I tell you, man, people see a lot of potential in you, and they tell you that, you take their words seriously, man, because people see something in you that most people won't. Most people will look at you and be like, yo, you are trash, bro. You are not capable of this. Don't listen to anybody, because I don't see you going anywhere. People that tell you that are scared because they see something. So they're freaked out. So what they're going to do is they're going to try and bring you down just to keep you off so you don't lift off the ground, because they don't want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you show them up in front of people, because they don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing in life. So they're going to talk smack to you over and over again until you crash. But it's when you go after that thing, man. It's when you go after what you believe in, what you're capable of, and you start to shine, you start to see who's really watching your back. You start to realize who's supporting your dream. You're starting to see who actually wants you to succeed. And I've learned so much from that by pursuing this dream, becoming an actor, having fun with it. You know, I enjoy it not just as a job, but as a, as a hobby and a career, because I get to do so many cool things with it, man. You get to meet people that you can relate to. And there's also this little cheesy thing where you also can find a decent person in your life through that. And, you can find that with anything, especially doing podcasts. Like, you come across some decent people in life that you really connect with, that you kind of relate to. And it's a beautiful thing. With success, it comes a long way because people see the potential that you didn't see at first. So you grow, you expand, you start to see it shine. It gets better and brighter, more opportunities come your way, and I gotta tell you, man, it's the most beautiful and most honorable thing in the world. So if anyone was to ever tell you that you're not capable of something, step it up and prove them wrong, because I promise you, what's meant for you won't go by you. It's right there. Just keep fighting for it. You're gonna go through a lot of humble situations, man. You're gonna suffer a bit. You're gonna get told no. But I see no as just next opportunity for everything, for everyone. If I can succeed at 16 and push myself to become where I'm at now at 21, why can't you just start it at 13? Why can't you start it at 10? Don't wait around. Find that path and go straight after it. Because I promise you, it's going to benefit you while you're still young. Do it while you're still young. Make the money. Get a job that you feel is going to benefit you, and find your path. Because the more you grow, the more you're going to benefit your life. And the more your bloodline's going to grow because of you. Because you are the light that brings it out there. So, to be at this moment in life, to succeed, and to be able to motivate others to do that too, it's a big thing. Just like you with the podcast. You do this because you know what it's like to start off at humble beginnings, to go through struggles, to make mistakes. And you've learned, and you grew, and you've taken this thing and have given people a lot of hope and understanding. You've given people something to listen to benefit them, to change their mindset of the way they are now, and to grow and be a better person. It's your words of wisdom, Kyle, that gives people the chance to better themselves, to change their ways. Stuff like that is hard to find these days because nobody thinks of the others. Sometimes they think only for themselves. So for you to be that light that people need, it's amazing. And I'm glad to be here to have this conversation with you, because I feel like it's got to be spoken up on, People want to succeed in life, but they need the motivation to do it. And it's guys like us, they need to share the words for them to understand, to share that light that we already have. Give them something to believe in so they can go after it themselves. And if they can do that, then they can then succeed on giving others that chance too. The better we do, the more they're going to learn. The more they learn, the more they can share their knowledge. The more knowledge that gets shared, the more successful people get. That's how I see it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Fucking love that, man. I appreciate that, by the way. That's good. See, sometimes when it kind of flips onto me and then folks start saying stuff, I'm just like, I'm just a guy, I'm just a guy. But no, I do appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. It's a humble thing and just a general rule of thumb anyway. But like having people tell you that you're doing something that's genuinely helping them is it's a weird thing because like you can't really comprehend being able to help someone through something so little, and that's the craziest thing. Like something so little now is such a big positive to so many people, and that's the craziest thing because like I always use the example of like my mum and dad when they were younger, no social media, kind of just you went to school, you made your friends at school, you made your plans at school to then do something after school, and it was all just so inside a little circle. You done everything, and it wasn't like everybody knew about it. It was just your little circle together, and that's how it worked. And like now, no matter what you say, genuinely anybody could find out about it because social media just puts everything out there, and it's a crazy thing because like sometimes when you do little social media things like this, or you sit there and speak to someone that genuinely knows what they're talking about as well, and they've got that motivational headspace, you then start to find like the best part of social media, and that's like you said, like sitting down with folk like-minded like myself, like you, like almost every person that's actually been on Cold Wans so far, you find one confounding variable, and that's the fact that every single person wants to make a difference, and whether they can do it for themselves or whether they can do it for the people around them, it all changes in levels because some people aren't capable, not capable, but in their time right now and where they are, they're not capable of being where you are. But like you said, the learning part, the learning curve that comes from that is they look at you, they go, I want to be like that, and I want to evolve into something similar, but not the same, but similar, that I can then grow that confidence to be out there, put myself out there, and genuinely help people. And it's something that a lot of people just can't do because I don't know if it's a stigma of being like, as a man or as a woman, being weak if you help people. In Scotland, there's a very big stigma about weakness, and I think a lot of men get pasted by it a lot as well. And it's the whole thing about talking. Men don't talk because it's looked at as weakness to a wide scale of people. To me, talking's the most important thing in life. It's how you learn. It's how you get things off your chest. And getting things off your chest, as much as people don't believe it, is the most important thing in life. Because when you build up, you build up and you build up, and you can't. There's only, if you think of it like a cup, there's only so much water can go into a cup before it overflows. And that's the same with life. If you don't talk about things, eventually your head will overflow, and then you start to. Sometimes your demeanor changes as well when you let yourself slip away like that. Sometimes you'll change your own ways because you can't deal with what's going on in your life. And at the end of the day, the only thing that you ever had to do was speak about it. But because you're so like dug down by all these people that are like, you're weak if you do this, you're weak if you do that, you're no better than the next worst person. That's the thing is as well, this talking thing, without talking, suicide happens, a lot of it. And that's what you hear a lot of in a lot of cases, especially around here. Like I've known quite a few guys that like I've met in my time going out or just kind of in passing, and they've ended up taking their lives because life's got too much for them. And that's because they didn't have an opportunity to talk, because nobody gave them that opportunity to talk, because everyone is so dug down on the whole fact that if you talk as a man, in a lot of cases you're weak. And that is a hard thing to get your head around, because for me, I can totally understand why people believe in that stuff, because back when I was knee deep in all that shit that I was going through in my life, I didn't want to talk to anybody because I was like, oh, but if I talk about it, it's just going to get worse because that's weakness. And I'm putting a front up here by being a man and not talking about it and just kind of rolling with the shots by myself. But at certain points in my life, I know if I went back now, I would have spoke about it for days. And I know for a fact, I would have probably been where I am now years before if I had just spoke about some of the things that were going through my mind. And it's a crazy thought because it's genuinely that easy. It's talking. But talking is it's such a strange thing to so many people, because even in just a general rule, like how many times do you walk past someone, I don't know, in the past, and you'll go to the centre or something and you just look at everybody and you don't see people talking. Everyone's just there to get things done and not to socialise anymore. But I go back again, if you saw your pals 50, 60 years ago, you would go over and speak to them, because it would be like the hunger of not being able to speak to them for so long because you can't just message them, you know what I mean? You go over, you socialise, and then that builds you as an actual person way stronger, because social skills are such a belittled thing as well nowadays in our society, because you don't need to do social events and stuff. You can, if you want to speak to someone, get on Snapchat, give them a message, and then when you see that person that you've sent on Snapchat, it can sometimes be awkward. It can sometimes be, sometimes it just doesn't, there's not as much excitement there because you're not bothered about actually speaking to them, because it's as easy as just going on your phone. So why would you have to socialize? And that's one of the biggest things about not talking as well, because that talking that you don't do ends up causing these social problems that you end up running into a lot in life. And nobody understands that until they get themselves so dug down in the deep where they feel like they can't do anything with their life because they're so done with how much they've been building up and they've been overflowing. And it's just a crazy thing, mate, because I'll always say now, like, to anybody that's ever feeling like shit or anyone that ever needs to speak, you just need to speak. Like, I'm always an advocate as well for saying that if you need to speak to anyone, speak to me as well. Like I said, like, I'm just an average guy, but I'm always there to, I'm the most human guy you'll probably meet in a long slot of people, because no one's really human anymore. It's more, you're there to do what you have to do and get on with it, and that's it. That's why folk get so comfortable in a job. That's why folk get so comfortable in life. They don't care about all the important things of life, of developing, growing, meeting new people, building a big social circle of people that actually care and want to develop together. You don't get that when you're stuck in a 9 to 5 that you're happy in. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, if you're happy with that life, I don't have anything against that. Live a life, have a fun job. If you're happy and you've got enough money and you're living a cushy life, go for it. I'm not going to sit there and say that that's not a good thing. But when you get uncomfortable in life, you then start to unlock all these different side effects to life. Like, you'll start to have a bigger friend group of people that actually care. It's not about having a friend group that care about you and just in a general. You need a group of people that care about your development, their development, and where you can all go as a collective. Because once you have that, the differentiation between a good group of friends and a good group of, it's almost like networking. A good group of a big network. That's where you start to grow in all these ways, like your social skills, your way you gesture towards people, like the way you maybe speak to women. Women can sometimes come into this as well. The more confidence you gain by talking to other people, you can then start to grow that confidence in speaking to women in a respectful and better manner. Because in a lot of cases as well, guys are like, oh, why do I not have a woman in my life? And it's down to, you pick someone that's not well suited for you, but it's an opportunity, so you go for it. Or sometimes in a lot of cases, you'll speak to them like shit, but you end up stuck in this relationship where you both think you gain from each other when you don't really. It's like a toxic sort of situation where you're maybe not the best towards her, so then she's not the best towards you, but then you don't want to leave her because you realise you've caused all the issues, but then at the same time you're like, if I leave her, where do I go from there? And that's the thing that a lot of guys I think also get stuck in, is even when their women's treating them bad, they're so insecure in themselves of being able to get someone better that they then will just stick with it, and that's where they'll stay. And I've saw a lot of cases like that in my years with my friends where I've been like, it's not good for you, but they don't listen. And I mean, I even got stuck in situations like that before in my time as well. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and pretend that I'm better than everyone else in a relationship, because I'm not. But it's these learning points that, like, you need those people in your life to then turn in and be like, right, I think it's time for you to maybe realise that this isn't good for you. And being able to have a friend that genuinely cares about what your best interests is so important. And I think a lot of people don't have that kind of achievable goal within them, because a lot of people nowadays, even if you've known them your whole life, quite a lot of folk are still fake. You know what I mean? When you find that friend that you know is real and is totally there for your benefit and their benefit also, that's when you've reached gold, and you've reached that kind of, that's the scenario you want to be in life. Because for me, like, my pal Mark, he is like that. He's the bread and butter of my life. He's that main man, and if I didn't have him, I don't know what I'd have right now. I've got other friends like Scott and Jordan, also very close, best friends ever, but they even know that Mark's the main man for me. Mark is my bread and butter, and he's the reason. He's like a brother. He brought me up, he helped me out, and he stuck by me even when I was at my worst. And that to me is the most rewarding thing, and that's what you gain when you gain good networking and like a good social circle with people that actually care. And that's what you need to strive for yourself, I think. It's so important having that mainstream group of people that actually care about what you have to show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. See, for me, growing up, I had bounced from friend group to friend group, man. During high school, it was hectic because there was people that I got along with. There's people that I loved, people that I cared about, people that I felt so connected to, and my first group that I ever bonded with was probably I wouldn't say my realest one. It was the start of what it felt like to be in a group with people. It was the first, little stage where you had people you could talk to, people you could laugh with, and it was dope. And then there was a point where things would change, things would shift, the group would change, people would come and go, people would just start joining in or building on, people would get into relationships, people would break up. Shit was heavy, man. Like growing up, I had to learn that sometimes you're not gonna be able to stick around the exact same people forever, because eventually they're gonna move on. Eventually they're gonna leave you behind, and eventually you're gonna have to find somebody else to hang around with. And I learned that with every situation I dealt with in life, my friends were always an important part in my life when it came to success, when it came to knowing who was really there for you. Because I agree with you, man. Realness is an important thing. If you ain't real, then you're not capable of being in my life. Like, you need realness to be able to know that you got someone that's out there looking out for you, supporting your dreams and your ambitions. If you ain't got that, then where's your sense of pride gonna come from? How are you gonna know you're capable of doing the impossible things if no one is gonna tell you that? If you're not gonna have that one person that could change your life. And it's rough, man, because I've had some pretty decent people come into my life. Decent people who I don't even talk too much anymore. But to this day, they made such a strong impact on my life, man. Especially when it came to women. Like, you're right. You need confidence for you to talk to girls today. Like, nowadays, most people don't know what they want. Most women don't know what they want. But when they do, it's either through stereotypes. You either want a guy who's 6'4". I don't even know how you can handle that. Having a really tall ass dude. I mean, shit, you could date LeBron James and he'll be focusing on shooting the hoop. But you also got girls who look for certain ethnicities, and you know what? That's understandable. Some girls like certain things. Some guys like certain things as well. And we're not for everybody. We're not gonna be everybody's type, but we're gonna be someone's. You could have maybe 30% of the world be your type, or 10. But no matter what, no matter how low that chance is, there's always someone out there for you. Someone that'll be there to support your dreams. Someone who will be there to listen. Someone who will be there to inspire you the same way your parents would inspire you to grow and be a better person. And I've been out of a relationship for about 3 years. Last girl I really liked, she wound up being a baby mama to some other guy, and we fell apart because of that. Because she blamed me for the choice she made, being with him and having his kid. Even though she talked so much junk to me about him, it was always the fact that she'd go right back to saying how much she loved him. And in that point in time, it's like, it's hard to even know who's gonna keep it real with you, who's really gonna take you seriously, who's really gonna see you for the right person that you are now. Because nowadays, you're either an ATM to somebody, or you're just comfort, or you're just a rebound. And it sucks. And I've had to accept a lot of that happen to me, a hell of a bunch. That's why sometimes having a real friend there for you when it comes to losing a girl, or a girl betraying you or using you as a rebound, it's good to have that circle where you can kind of grieve, cry, and you got your boys there supporting you no matter what. It could be your boy best friend, your girl best friend, it could be your parents, it could be your brother or sister or your cousins, it could be anybody. As long as the circle is strong and it's full of love and positivity and a chance to grow and move on from lessons, then you're fine. And I've learned that with every friend group I had, there was always that one person that stuck by me through a lot of it. My last friend group, I think it's about maybe 4 years ago now, There was me and these three other dudes. There was this dude JC. I gave him that nickname. His full name is Joshua Clark, and then there was Noah Young and Kieran McGarry. So these were basic generic dudes I grew up with at the age of 16 and onwards. Obviously, JC was the older one. You know, he was kind of like the dad of the group, and I got along really well with him because he was the first person I actually met before the friend group even formed, and he stuck by me in such a way that I felt completely safe and understood. Like, we'll yell at each other, but it's all jokes. We could talk, we could hop on the game, we could talk smack to each other, we could say some very disrespectful things. And at the end of it, that was just how we basically showed we loved each other, because we could say so many stupid things, and unlike most snowflakes who take things too seriously, we'll laugh about it. Today, it's hard to do that with most people because most people will not have the exact same sense of humor you do. And I had that with him and the other guys. And today, I still talk to him to this day. I mean, he's a dad now. He's a full blown dad. He's 22 with a beautiful kid and a gorgeous girlfriend, living his life out in West Lothian. Man, he's enjoying himself. And you know, he hits the gym. He bulks up. He's a strong dude. Shout out to you, cuz, if you see this. People like that remind you of who you are, where you come from, what you represent. Without that kind of thing, it's hard to figure yourself out. It's hard to move around in life because it's a maze. You don't know where you're going. You don't know if you're going to make it out. But you need people that are there to guide you. And people like that is hard to come around. That's why realness is a big thing. And you're right, man. As long as you have that circle, you have a chance to grow because you have that people around you to be there to help you grow. And for most people, it's hard to find that, especially when it comes to women. Like I said, man, we're not for everybody, but whoever we are for, they'll see the realness in you. They'll see the real love that you could carry, and they'll be there to support that. Whether it's your dreams, your ambitions to travel the world, it could be anything. Love is love, but love is real, and it comes from the heart. It comes from knowing how compatible you are to people, how much you can relate, how much you guys can kind of support one another. People deal with struggles in the most craziest ways. But at the end of the day, we find those people who really mean so much to us, that really help us build on from struggle, and we learn. And today, I've learned so much of that, and I don't think I'd be the person I am today if I didn't have that. So I'm pretty proud of it.
Man, what an actual! This has been a really good conversation, man. I've been enjoying this. It's a good bounce back and forth between two folk that have a very like-minded mindset. Like I said before, I've had a lot of people on this, and they're all very like-minded. But just the things you've been saying, I've closely related to a lot more than what some other people have said, and it's good, man. I'm actually really glad you came on, because when I first asked the first time, I was totally understanding of your time restraints and that. I'm not against any of that. I've got time restraints too. There's nothing against that shit. But I was like sitting there and I was like, is he gonna come on? I was like, he's gonna come on. I know what that. Like, you put yourself forward as such a good guy, like a good inspirational young man, and that's, to me, I knew it was gonna be a good episode the minute you said that you'd come on. I knew it. And it's funny because, who was it? It was someone that sent me your Snapchat on Snapchat, and I can't remember who it was.
I'm trying to remember who it was too, but whoever it was, he was very, very intrigued for me to be on the podcast. I can't remember his name, but he's on my phone, and for all I know, he's gonna see this and he's gonna look at me. He's gonna be like, "I did all this for you, and you forgot my name. I'm gonna remember this dude." So he probably gonna be thinking to me, "Bro, I'm on your ass now. I'm gonna remember this." But whoever it was, honestly, this opportunity for us to kind of like sit down and talk about a lot of things, I owe it to him, because, you know, without him reaching out to me about it, without him bringing you into the light to me, we wouldn't be able to share what most people don't get to talk about these days. So for that, it's really good to kind of like be able to come across people who kind of give you that chance to find people you can relate to be able to sit down, have a drink of tea, and talk it out. You know, because it's hard to find people like that. So to be able to be here and have this with you is really great. I mean, yeah, I mean, we could have done it a lot sooner. We could have got the jamming way beforehand, but like you said, I got my life struggles and stuff. I could do get my restrictions and all, but that's just how being an adult is. Like when people told us that being an adult was gonna be pretty good for you, they didn't tell you about how much responsibility you'd get off of that. Like, I look at responsibilities today and I'm like, man, I really gotta pay bills. I really gotta work a 9 to 5. But at the end of it, you learn a lot as an adult. What you learned as a teenager in school, that was just a learning curve. That was you playing with pebbles. Now you playing with the hard rocks now because you an adult. So now you going through much bigger things and you're learning so much more. So to be able to have that now and be able to talk to people that you can relate to that, it's really cool to be in here and have this conversation with you. It was long overdue. And I'm just glad that we could be able to do it now so that people have something to look at whenever they feel low. Just two brothers sitting down talking about truth, talking about love and responsibilities and going from humble beginnings and to what the future is for them now. That's what I love, and being able to have that for people.
So there forever now. So, I think what we'll do, right, is we'll move on from this little chatting situation, and we're gonna react to your trailer.
Oh damn! I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, nice. I looked at the time. I was like 56 minutes in here. We've been speaking good, right? But I think we need to get the reaction in here.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this because you obviously are in this. I thought it was a good trailer from the get-go, so having both of us talking about it, I think it'll be really good. So what we'll do is fire these headphones on.
Got it.
Oh. So you should still be able to hear me through the headphones.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Sick.
Hey, you're looking nice. Where are you off to?
House party.
Oh, exciting. Whose party is it?
Someone from school.
God damn! Feel weird? School nearly been finished?
Not really thought much about it, to be honest.
I need funny business tonight, Alec.
Oh,
Be careful. Have fun.
Thanks, man.
I love you.
I'm kind of late for a party, and I was supposed to meet the boys like now at the square.
Fuck you want me to do?
Alex has got me my drug dealers.
She's at the party.
You're going?
Aye. You got a fucking problem with that?
No, not at all. Right, we're gonna go now.
You got everything you need.
Yeah. Fine, Mum.
Have you got protection?
She's by.
Holy shit! This nigga gets out of his car. Damn, honestly, I don't know how many times I've looked at that teaser and I thought to myself, dude, that's really me. I really am doing this. Like, today, if you had told me maybe 2-3 years ago that you were gonna end up doing a movie, a full-length feature film about being in high school and planning to go to house party with your friends and getting up to some crazy teenage stuff, I would have thought it was all jokes. I would have laughed. I would have been like, you funny, man. I don't see myself doing that anytime soon. But to see myself in that teaser over and over again, it helps me like realize that, man, I've come a long way from doing background work to being in a full-length movie. God works many great ways, man. Like, honestly, the hard work and time that I put in to get where I'm at now, I couldn't have done that without my struggles, without the people that stuck by me, without any of that. And I couldn't have gotten where I am without the person that saw the potential, which is my friend Mitchell Ronald. Shout out to him. He's the director of the movie Gaff. He's also He's also the like I think he's also the founder of Apple Tree Productions, which is the people that make the movie. And when that movie came up, I was very unsure if I was gonna get the role because like I said, in the acting industry, it's hard to get anywhere. You can only really do so much. All you can really do is give 110% and hope that somebody, sees your light and tells you straight up, "Yo, come through, man. You got what we need. We're gonna need this." It's hard to find that, and like I said, man, like I was skeptical of me getting that role, and to see myself there having achieved that is a big thing for me because, like, I didn't just do it so I could be in a film. I did it so I could prove that if you have a dream and you believe you can do some shit with that, you have the chance to prove that anything like that can be done. You just gotta have the right amount of motivation to go after that. And that was exactly what I did. That was my goal, to prove to people, you can do the impossible. Don't wait around hoping that it can just come to you and all in hand. No, you gotta go fight for that. You gotta really push on. You gotta prove to people that things can get done. You just gotta get up off your butt and go for it. Like, talk your shit and prove people wrong. When people tell you you're not capable of doing something, step it up. Go right ahead and go make that shit happen. And that was exactly what I did, man. So to see that teaser over and over again, I think I've watched it maybe like 5 or 6 times just to kind of get my head around the fact that, hey, that's me. That's gonna be on a big screen, and not just for people to watch on TV, but that's gonna be in like film festivals, both in like East Kilbride and West Lothian, and it's also gonna be set abroad as well. So people in America are gonna see that, and it also helps you build exposure to like casting directors that see your performance and can be like, yo, I need to find this person because I think this person has what it takes to be in a film that I might be working on. That right there just proves you can do anything as long as you set your mindset to it, man. As long as you believe in yourself the same way others believe in you, you have the chance of doing incredible things. And the people that tell you that you can't do it, you're going to leave them in the dust. You're going to prove to them that you can do the impossible. You can sit back and you can laugh at me all you want. I'm going to go and prove to you that this opportunity right here is worth fighting for, and it can be done, and it can prove to other people that they can do the exact same thing if they believe it.
Can't agree more. I actually can't agree more, man. The thing is, right, it's so surreal seeing that as well for me, because I'm like, it gives such a good opportunity for us to talk about something that's very different as well. For me, never had someone that's been in a movie or even thought about the ideology of being in a movie. So having someone like yourself that's been really involved with the whole drama side of things, and then you've built up to this moment where you have now got a trailer, and the trailer you said is coming out like next year or something, like the actual trailer, not the teaser trailer.
No, so the actual movie will come out premiere wise in like January, February time next year, but we will probably get the official trailer for the movie in probably about a month or two. So we have our buddy Nico, who's our editor, working out the kinks, trying to get the trailer to look as perfect as it can possibly be so that people have more to look at. When that first came out, that was done maybe 6 months ago, and we had done maybe like 40-50% of the film at that time. So the scenes that we had done there, we had done half of our school scenes, half of our runaway scenes, and there was still so much more to be done. When we finished the movie last week, we managed to get through maybe over 110 scenes, because there is a lot more to this film than what we have just seen in the teaser. So for people to be able to see what was in that, I can't wait to see where they're going to react when they see the official one. They're going to see a lot more than what they just saw there. There's going to be so much more to share. And I'm not one for spoilers, because I like to keep it real with people. Don't spoil films, especially if it's a video game. Like, you ever had that one person that tells you things that you don't want to know in a video game? You'd rather go ahead and play the game nice and raw, just kind of experience it yourself, and you just get spoiled about a certain moment in the game? That shit sucks. Like, well, why would you do that? Why would you ruin that moment for me? Now I gotta play the game and I'm gonna know exactly what's coming. I'm not gonna have the right reaction because you damn near told me. But nah, all I can really say about the film is people are gonna love it, people are gonna relate to it, and people are gonna laugh their asses off. Like when I tell you, there are things in this film that will remind them of the shows and the films that they've watched growing up. You know, like In Betweeners and Superbad. That's all I can really say. That's only the amount I can really tell you. You gotta wait to go watch the actual film when it's out. But I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy it. And it'll also give people something to kind of relate to, because as teenagers, we've all been through certain things, man. We've all been through so much that it shapes up to kind of share with people. And like, you wouldn't normally see it on TV. So to have this opportunity to do that is really cool. And the best part about it is it's very diverse, because it's 3 Scottish kids and 1 American character. So it's something different. And it's set in Scotland, like you said. It's set in Scotland. So it's something really different that most people wouldn't expect in the film industry. But it stands out because it's not just any other film where you have everybody being completely the same. You have some people from different backgrounds, from, different ethnicities, different places, bringing their own little personality to the film. So for me to play an American character, because obviously as a British person, I'm not the best at doing a British accent. I can do possibly like almost tomboy, like "Wagwan, mate. How you feeling?" I'm not the best at it, like on the spot, but when I have my moments, I can sort of do it. I have my certain inspirations, like Supercell, Top Boy, and all that. Kingsman is a very good one. But yeah, this film is very different. It really stands out. It gives people something to look forward to, because they're not just watching a basic standalone film. They're watching something that they can think back of when they were in high school, especially if they have friends from different places that, came to study with them, they can relate to that too. So, when the actual trailer comes out, hopefully, I'm not going to quote on it. Could be next month, could be 2 months from now, could be Christmas time, God knows. But all I know is when that second trailer comes out and people go and watch that, I know they're going to be hyped for it. And I hope that for you, you get to kind of like look at it and think to yourself, man, this kid really came a long way from doing background and going to high school and studying in college to actually being in a full-blown film that people will see, that eventually will probably give him the edge to get where he needs to be. That's my goal for a lot of people, to prove right then and there, you can do anything. That film is just a start. That's me just getting on the train and going to a certain place. When I reach that destination, I'm going to do it not because I can fulfill it, but because I'm proving it can be done. Anybody can do it. You just need to know how to handle yourself on a path that no one else can follow, because that's meant for you. You can prove to people that anything can be done. Just got to go for it. Have fun with it. Share your knowledge of it and give people the chance to step up and be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. If he can do this movie, then I can become somebody. I can be whoever I know I can be. I can be a businesswoman or woman. I could own a salon. I could own my own business, my own company. I could get my dream car. I could live in New York City if I wanted to. Anything can be done as long as you have the right mindset. If you believe you can do it, there's nothing that can stop you, man. Because you have all the time in the world to get there. There's no age limit to success. There's no age limit to succeeding in life, to fulfilling your dreams. Anybody can do it at any age. We have so many people today who have probably gotten big at 50 years old or at 10 at such a young age. Like, there is no age limit to where success can't come for you, bro. Like, there is no age limit to where you cannot succeed, because it's possible. Anybody can do it. You just need to have the motivation to go out and fight for it. Go out and take it. That door is meant for you. You have the key, turn the lock, open the door, and you'll see your world right in front of you. And that's exactly what I did with the movie, man, because I told myself this film will give me the chance to prove that you can do anything you put your mind to. And if you believe in it, there's nothing you can't achieve.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. God, it's such a surreal thing though. I love it. I'm excited to see the trailer, and I'm excited to see the movie. It's gonna be good, and I just want to see, just as a general thing, because you've told me all about your past, you've told me where you've came from and where you're going, and it's like being able to put that into something that's so surreal, that's like up on the big screen. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, because like I feel like I know you on a much better. I maybe don't know you as well as I could, but I know you on a much better result than I did before, and it's good to be able to realise that I've grown our relationship, our little friendship here, within just sitting here for what has been an hour and 10 minutes in this room, and we've only really spoke about motivation and about life, which is crazy, because it's those little things that then make you realise that you actually do have a good person sitting next to you that just actually cares about the same sort of stuff, which I love. But we're really getting on. So what I'm gonna do is I've got one question for you to answer just at the end here, and then we'll make sure that everybody goes down, gets all of Daniel's stuff. It'll all be linked below. The trailer linked below. Go watch it. Go give it a like. Make sure you keep all that stuff under the rug here. But Daniel, the last question I have for you is, if you had a piece of advice or a quote that you could say to everyone out there that would maybe help them, what would it be?
If you have a dream, if you believe you're capable of success, if you know you have a chance to change your life or those around you, don't wait around. Fight for your dreams. Motivate others to do the same. Take people with you on a path of enlightenment. Give people a chance to better themselves mentally, physically, spiritually. Because at the end of the day, you could be the most successful person in the whole world, but to really know that you're capable of bringing peace and prosperity to the other people in life is to be able to remind them, to motivate them to do the same. Bring them with you on your journey, bro. It's not too late. People are going to go through struggles. People are going to go through so many things in life. People are going to feel like they're not capable of growing anymore because of how far they've strayed from a path. Take them with you and show them that anything can be done. You can better yourself. It's not too late. If I can do it, so can you. Believe in yourself. Find your motivation. Find your enlightening. There's a quote that I constantly think to my head from a show called Wu-Tang: An American Saga. I grew up with Wu-Tang as a kid, and there's this quote about build and destroy. So how it goes is, to build is to create a path for your own destiny in life, and to create a rift where you can also enlighten a bigger community. To destroy is to eliminate and destroy all negativity that enters my cipher of supreme harmony. And that's a big thing, because when you have a cipher and you're surrounded by people who share that same positive riff, you can do so much with that. You can expand it. And people who aren't already a part of that cipher can get called upon it, can get brought into it, and can also consume that positive energy because you're carrying it. Expel it onto them. Bring them into the light. Tell them what they can do. And give them a chance to fulfill their own destiny. Because what's meant for a lot of people, they won't miss it. It's right then and there for them, and anything can be done. So, for my important message to everybody, don't stop believing in yourself, man. Take people's words as motivation. Use that and go after what you believe in. Because at the end of the day, your success will come to you when you least expect it. You just got to know when and how you're going to get it.
Perfect piece of advice. Perfect piece of advice, I would say. So, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me. I mean, like I said, it was long overdue, but we really needed this to be able to share a lot with people, you know? To be able to share a lot, to kind of help each other understand one another, and to be able to give people something to listen to remind themselves of their worth, and to be able to get up, go do their thing, man. So, I'm just glad we could finally do it.
Absolutely, man. Well, I owe you this. And yeah, every single thing that we've either watched or spoke about will be down below in the description. All of Daniel's stuff, social media and that, I'll make sure he sends me all over in the description. And yeah, go and give this guy some love. He's about to be a big movie star when it comes out, eh? And I'm excited to see it. And you know what I mean? I think a lot of other people that have been watching these, quite a lot of the folk that already watched Cold Wans kind of knew about you, because I was speaking about the fact that you had like something very different from everyone else. Didn't tell them the specifics, but I said that there's someone coming on, very different kind of lifestyle behind it all, be very interesting to hear from. And then obviously over the time that I've had you on Snapchat and that, I've been looking at your stories, seeing that you're quite a motivational guy as well. You like to push it out there, you like to be very real, and he's came on and he's done exactly what I expected. Real, motivational, and a good speaker, which makes a difference in a podcast, obviously.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, growing up, I learned that to be a better person, you got to carry a lot of positive messages in your life and kind of motivate other people to do the same. You know, because you're gonna come across a lot of people that are not gonna be like you. You know, you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna carry a lot of negativity and just throw it at you. But for me, I just stay being positive. I stay being motivational, because there's nothing in life you cannot achieve without carrying those features, man. Without carrying positive, motivational, inspirational attributes in life. And that's the joys of being you. You know, being yourself, loving yourself, respecting yourself, and giving others to do the same. So that's what I do.
Absolutely, man. And you do exactly do that as well. You're not even just saying it, you do that. I love that, man. But for you lot, there'll be a big bit here to subscribe. They're going to have to hit the like button. There'll be a link to the recent video down here, and over there on Daniel's side there will be the playlist for all of Cold Wans.
Could be on this side, could be that side. You know what?
It could be
wherever
anywhere.
it's at, wherever I'm pointing at, Kyle will probably put it there. So go watch them. Don't miss them.
And there you go. But except from that, guys, hopefully you'll be back here for next Sunday for the next Cold Wans, and let's give Daniel the love he deserves.
Thanks, man.
See y'all later.
Peace.